They are together in a locked room, and Jesus just appears. He literally walks through
Walls
the
no
walls.
longer apply.
Zack, let me bury you.
Oh my gosh. What? This is unplanned. For real. I don't like. This doesn't seem like you're going to put me in that bag, aren't you?
Oh no, not in the bag. Not
This
in the bag.
bag is like a foot big.
I
There's no way.
brought.
Why do you have a balloon pump?
You'll see. You'll see. And there's something else in here that I gotta find, unless it's already out. Nope.
Dude, you brought all the goodies. This is
Yeah. I'm actually going to do this in church on Sunday as well. But there is one more thing there it is. Okay. So, what Scripture says that they did when they buried Jesus? Give me your left arm here, Zach, and just palm up. What they would do is, first of all, they had washed Jesus's body and then clothed Jesus's body. So you're okay like this. So come a little bit closer here.
Okay.
And I am taking little strips. I went to Target, my favorite
you got to make it
luxury
fancy.
store, right? And I said, sell me the cheapest sheet that you had because I'm taking it home and I'm cutting it up. So I cut up about 8-foot strips of cloth that are 3 to 4 inches wide. And what Nicodemus and Joseph of Arimathea did is they covered Jesus's arm in that sticky ointment of myrrh and aloes. Do you know what an aloe plant is?
Yeah, aloe. Is it like aloe vera?
That is exactly what it is. So you know how sticky that is?
Yeah, it's like
It's almost like glue.
Yeah. I'm trying to think what else you could compare it to. It's kind of its own
Kind
thing.
of an ointment.
Almost like hair gel,
A little bit.
like cheap hair gel, a little bit.
So what they did was they wrapped Jesus's body all over, starting at the hands. They would have wrapped the hands first, and then the arms. Going up to the arms, they'll fold the arms over the chest, and then they wrap the arms to the chest. And I'm just let's see. I've got Zach's forearm.
You're not
I'm
really
up
gonna
here
do
to
like
his
my whole,
elbow.
like,
Oh man,
upper body,
I've
are
been
ya?
looking forward to just covering your face with no.
Just
I'm just
burying
gonna
me.
do this arm.
I've been plotting Zach's murder for some weeks now. And
Oh no, not your murder,
This
just
is
your
my
burial. So there we go. So this is kind of what it would look like in real life. And I want you to keep that on here for a little bit while I do the next step. The next step is because of what happens, especially with Jesus's burial. I now have 2 long, narrow balloons. They're about 2 inches around, and they'd probably be 4 feet long. But Jesus's arms were not 4 feet, so I'm not going to do 4 feet. I'm going to do 2 because that's pretty skinny for an arm. Jesus was a carpenter, a stonemason. Jesus was not shot.
dude, I hope nobody's driving their car while listening to this. They're gonna have a car wreck.
They're going to have a wreck.
I'm gonna have to edit that out. Oh my gosh.
But, Jesus's arms were probably relatively muscular. So there we go. And boy, I am
You're really failing
all over the place.
Have you practiced this before you got here?
The last time I did this all the way through was probably 20 years ago. But we're going to see if this, there we go.
Oh, I'm so afraid. I'm so afraid.
I'm going to point it at you then.
Oh, good.
Yeah. Okay. Now, I've got the 2 balloons there, and that's kind of like the radius and the ulna. And I'm going to try to get them both going to try to get them both in this little clip that I have here. New plan. I'm going to do one because the first one just collapsed on me. So here again, this represents the arm. They take the arm and they would wrap the cloth around it. 75 pounds of this myrrh and aloes went on Jesus' body. Now, Jesus was probably, just because of what we've seen of excavations during first century, he was probably 5'2", 5'3". So he probably weighed 120, 135 pounds. Even muscular, when you're that short, you're not going to weigh a whole lot. So even with the muscles that Jesus would have had as a stonemason, his body would have been wrapped in this with 75 pounds. That's almost half again his body weight. Now, John chapter 20 says, early on Sunday morning, while it was still dark, Mary Magdalene came to the tomb, found the stone had been rolled away from the entrance. She ran and she found Simon Peter and the other disciple, the one whom Jesus loved. She said, they've taken the Lord's body out of the tomb. We don't know where they put him. So Mary Magdalene thinks they've stolen Jesus' body. They're taking his body somewhere to desecrate it, to do something unspeakable with it. So Simon Peter and the other disciple, the disciple that Jesus loved, started out for the tomb, and they were both running. The other disciple outran Peter, reached the tomb first. He stooped and looked in and saw the linen wrappings lying there, and he didn't go in. So the other disciple gets to the tomb. He looks in, and he looks and he sees something that calms him. Then Simon Peter arrived. He went inside. He also noticed the linen wrappings lying there, while the cloth that had covered Jesus' head was folded up and lying apart from the other wrappings. When Simon Peter came, he just ran right in the tomb. He examined. He didn't just see the linen wrappings. He examined them. And again, it says that they were lying there. Then the other disciple that had reached the tomb first also went in, and he saw and believed. So the other disciple goes in, and when he looks at the grave clothes, what he sees causes him to believe. Now, what in the world was it about the grave clothes? Scripture doesn't explain it in quite this way, but I think that what we see is something like this. The grave clothes were lying there. It's like there's a cocoon of the grave clothes. I just deflated the balloon that I had wrapped as if it were Jesus's arm. And what we're left with is, if you can imagine 75 pounds of aloe and myrrh, sticky ointment around these grave clothes, there was something there. It looks like the body is still inside. The other
even
disciple,
without that, you can make hold its shape.
You can. When the other disciple got there, he looked in the tomb, and what he saw was this, and he said, "Oh no,
it's a pinata.
The body's still there. It's a
Jesus pinata.
That's right.
That's awesome."
So the other disciple looked and saw it and said, "Oh no, his body's still there." Peter runs inside, and what he discovers is that the face linen has been removed, folded, and set apart. Why? So you can see that there's no body there. And so Simon Peter examines the linen cloths. I think he was sticking his hands inside this cocoon to see, did they cut off his head? No, there's nothing there. Now, Zach, can you take that and make it look like this? Can you slip your hand out of that?
No.
There's-
Honestly, I really can't move. Like, like it's kind of hard to move. Yeah, no.
And that's the point. The only way that Jesus could have gotten out of there was if Jesus's body was significantly different. Now, what Zack is now doing is just unraveling the grave cloth. And a lot of the movies that we have about Jesus at Jesus' resurrection, they have grave clothing unraveled. And that's all the
I'm so covered.
he's got white lint all over himself.
Dang. All right.
And this is what most movies do.
You
I
just
don't
get
think it
this
was like that.
pile of
Just a pile
wrappings.
of grave cloths. I think it was the cocoon, the Jesus-shaped cocoon.
that would explain why, at first glance, they thought he was still buried.
He's still there.
Right.
Yeah. But Peter examines it. Then the other disciple realizes, oh, wait.
Right.
He goes in, he sees, and he believes.
Hmm.
Jesus, when he resurrected, had a different kind of a body. We know that later on that very day, they are together in a locked room, and Jesus just appears. He literally walks through
Walls
the
no
walls.
longer apply.
When Jesus resurrected, he just sat up from those grave clothes and walked out. Now, if that's what happens, what that means is that when the angels came and they rolled away the stone from the tomb, they rolled the tombstone away not so that Jesus could get out, but so that the disciples could get in, because they needed to see what was in there. Jesus had just walked away from the grave clothes.
That's
And
awesome.
later, he just walked into the room where the disciples were meeting. And the next 40 days, he's just kind of walking around and appearing to them and doing incredible things.